There are times when I just want to pluck an old game off of my shelf and play it. But even in those times, I look at my gaming library and think, man, I don't know what exactly I'm looking for. Being that we are just getting off of the Halloween season, I think Werewolf: The Last Warrior is a good choice. Or is it? In Werewolf, you play as, well, a werewolf. I know, duh. The story is a bit odd in that there's some evil doctor that has created an army of mutants to take over the planet. These creatures have apparently imprisoned the entire world's population. Why kill them when you can just make everyone your slave, I suppose? And what kind of army is this that they can enslave the entire world's population? The population in 1990, which is when this game was published, was nearly 5.5 billion people. So this army must have been insanely massive or deadly or something. Yet you play as that lycanthrope, the last warrior of the people. When you press start, you begin the game, but you get a quick scene from some guy sitting there, called the Spirit of Kinju. I don't know who this Kinju guy is, but this spirit is here to help. Sort of. He gives you hints before each stage, so there is that. But then you are thrown immediately into a mini-boss fight, and you're only a half-naked human punching the crap out of this large man. That guy drops a red W icon, which transforms you into a werewolf. And holy crap, this guy is frightening. Look at those hands! Screw claws, you have freaking blades for hands! These blades aren't just used for attacking either. You can use them to climb on walls and across certain ceilings. This is actually required in many areas of the stages, so if you took too much damage and are reverted back to your human form, which, yes, that's a thing, you need to seek out another red W. And by the way, make sure you avoid the blue ones, because that will do damage and take away your superpowers. As in, you go back to being a normal human. Anyway, back to climbing. This might sound cool, but it can be kind of annoying as well. When you attach to a wall, you can't just climb over the edge of it. Instead, it functions similarly to Ninja Gaiden, in which you need to jump away from the wall. And if you're trying to get in between a narrow area, like I was here to get some possible power-ups, I had to give up because I couldn't get away from the stupid walls. As for hanging overhead, that is a bit worse. That's because in order to grasp the roof, the timing of pressing A needs to be perfect. If not, you'll simply miss and fall, possibly to your death. There are a few areas that I can't determine whether they are mandatory or not, where I needed to cross, but couldn't due to this horrible timing requirement. Oh, and yes, I said you need to press A to attach to the ceiling. That's because for some stupid reason, the A and B buttons are flipped around, so A attacks and B jumps. If this was an early game for the system, as in pre-Mario, I would have forgiven this. But this was 1990, and Mario 1 was out in 1985. So yeah, no excuses to this, as probably 98% of games at this point adopted the A jumps and B attacks control scheme. There are some other oddities with the controls. When pressing B, you do a normal jump, but if you decide to press up and B, you'll do a high jump. I never understood this. Why not just allow you to jump higher by holding down the jump button? Why force you to press up as well? The reason why this irks me is that in this game, you can't really press up in a direction like left or right to do a high jump in that direction. Instead, you are forced to hold up, press B to jump, and then move whichever way you desire. This makes some leaps a bit more frustrating than they should be. With all of this, does the game at least play well? Sort of. I had fun, don't get me wrong, but it definitely feels impossible to finish. This is due to multiple design flaws. 1. The enemies are relentless. You are constantly getting attacked by thugs, and will always be doing a 2 steps forward, throw a few punches, and repeat rhythm. It kind of kills the momentum of the game when you can't really get a lot of progress due to the constant stops. Secondly, how in the world do twigs in a storm hurt a freaking werewolf? I'm truly baffled by this. Not only do they hurt you, but they also push you back like a normal enemy. I have no words or a good explanation for this. Third, there are some really cheap attacks that can cause a game over quickly. Take stage 2. Right from the start, you'll be getting plates and dynamite thrown at you. Who is doing this? The mutants? It can't be other humans since, they're all enslaved. Or are they? You see them cheering you on for a fight before climbing the building from the start of Mega Man 2. And this is the same building that you fall off of not even a minute later to no damage. So let me get this straight. A twig hurts you, but a 30-story drop doesn't. Okay. Next up, these lasers. How the hell am I supposed to get past this? I tried for about an hour and a half and gave up. Thankfully, it was early on in the game, so I got good at clearing the first part of the stage, including taking out the guys that were calling me hoes. What? Yeah, they called me a hoe. No, it's not just some lazy mirrored swap of the guy to the right that says "oh" when he spots me. He's calling me a hoe because he's rude. The ass. Back to the lasers. I could not find a way past them. And I didn't have a manual to consult, so I didn't know what I was missing. So I had to do what I hate doing for old games. Consult the web. Game facts to be precise. Here's what I needed to do. A backflip. A bloody backflip. If you hold down A and press B, the stupid werewolf will do a stupid backflip to the opposite stupid direction that the stupid werewolf is facing. This stupid move makes the stupid werewolf invulnerable. That's right, take no damage. See where I'm going? You have to backflip through the lasers, or at least to the far right so that they don't trigger. And that's correct, this screen doesn't even scroll while performing the backflip. Next up, stage 2 again. After climbing up Mega Man 2's building, I explored a bit and suddenly died? How in the hell did I die? Wait, that lightning is a one-hit kill? Are you freaking serious? I thought it was just some cool effects, but nope, the lightning will kill you. On to stage 3, which is sadly as far as I could get. Not only are there a few blind jumps that you can attempt to make, but the amount of enemies that are shown, along with their attacks, truly made my journey to attempt to complete the game feel hopeless. The jetpack guys fire immediately as they show themselves on the screen, making memorization of their placements required. Then you have the ninjas that blink and teleport around. I can now see why the Doctor enslaved the human race. We had no hope against these creatures. Oh, and you only have 5 lives/continues. I say it that way because there are no real lives, just continues. 1-ups do exist, but otherwise, there's no passwords. I haven't found any cheat codes for a level select either, so there's no way around it. You'll have to put up with this game's BS if you wish to finish it. Sadly, I don't care to. I had a bit of fun with Werewolf: The Last Warrior, but I felt like it had some critical flaws that began to suck the gaming soul from my body. Cheap enemy attacks, instant deaths, stupid required precision for climbing, that dumb backflip. Oh, I should also have mentioned that you do technically have a ranged attack, done by holding down A, but if you perform this as the werewolf, you get a chunk of life removed, so it's not worth it unless you're in human form. There are allegedly only 5 stages, and if there were infinite continues, I probably would have persevered a bit more. But as it stands, Werewolf is a hard game to recommend. I think I paid $10 or $15 for it at a Too Many Games convention, but I can't recommend paying much more than that. Oh wait, I never talked about the graphics or music. I mean, there's not much to say this time around. The graphics do a decent job, and although I thought the werewolf looks a bit odd, with his blades and all, the human looks fine, along with the enemies that you come across. The stages are also surprisingly good looking, with enough bright colors to keep you hooked a bit. Yeah, there's some dark areas, like in the sewers, but that's to be expected. Oh, and the cartridge label is pretty badass, with the werewolf bursting out of the case, revealing the circuit board behind him. As for the music, that's not bad, but there's just not a lot of it. You have the human theme, werewolf theme, boss theme, and mini-boss theme. The song changes depending on the situation, which is kinda cool at first, but actual level songs would have been preferred to me, as many of the tracks loop quickly, especially the song that's played when in human form. So yeah, this is Werewolf: The Last Warrior. Not only is he the last warrior, he might be the final one ever, as I feel like we as a human race are pretty much screwed with what we're up against. Maybe you'll have a better chance of saving us though, and if that's the case, I'm going to thank you now for freeing me. Final score, 4 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.